Hello, everyone. I would like to start this international webinar with this special quote that is success usually come to those who are too busy to be looking for it. I do repeat, success usually come to those who are too busy to be looking for it. So, starting a new chapter, I, Abhishek Kumar, being your host, want to extend a very warm welcome and very good morning to all of you present here. And I hope you all are doing amazing. So, on the behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for this international webinar on the topic Right to Life and Health in India. And to add our guest of honor and our speaker, Miss Nahid Hassan ma'am. Ma'am, it's a great honor to have you with us and we are very much thankful for your presence. Now, let me introduce our speaker to you all, Miss Nahid Hassan ma'am. Talking about her education qualification is that she has done MA program from JNU, and along that she has also done MPhil program from the same JNU, and after that she has done PhD from University of Delhi in the political science, and currently she is working as a teaching profession in Guru Ghazias University, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, and lots more. Over to you, ma'am. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you for your introduction. My topic today is right to life and health in India. Health, it is very important for any other right, as it is the basic right upon any other right exists. So determining due to is the underlying right way. I thought that it should be properly investigated that whether the how this right has come and how this right has progressed across the globe and in India. And I also argue for this concept of right which should be included in health. As right to education, I am also arguing for right to health, because when there is right associated with health, only then it will get the get its legal framework upon which we can demand this right, especially I am advocating for this marginalized section. So this paper argues right to health in India, and which escalates it from the basic entitlement to the right, which can easily identify its violator, fix the responsibility on state, and to protect health, especially to the most marginalized section of the society. My paper will argue for the concrete definition of health, which could used to protect right to health. It explains the underlying importance of this right and traces out how far India has achieved for ensuring this right. First of all, what is health, or what is the concept of health? So many health has defined by so many institutions internationally, which works for health and which works for human rights. For example, Universal Declaration of Health, which which explains the human right. So it has also argued what is health in its Article 25.1. It says it says about health that what is health? It says everyone has the right to standard of living adequate for health and well-being of himself, of his and his family, including food, clothing, housing, medical care, and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond this control. So, this is the definition of health, quite a lengthy definition. It includes so many things along with health by UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Then again, health is defined by many other UN organizations or UN specialized agencies. Then satisfactory meaning of health is given by WHO in its constitution. It says that as per WHO, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Everyone is entitled to the determinants of health like food, clean air, clean water, housing, medical care, and so forth. It further includes security rights in case of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, and so on. It also includes safe motherhood and childhood. So now there are both positive and negative enforceable contents regarding right to health. Positive health is that which talks about the enforceable content by the state, which should be on which we could demand from the government to give me health or give me this whole notion of health to the citizens. State needs to provide equal healthcare facilities to each individual. State needs to provide a favorable condition to render fulfillment of the right to health. This elevated healthcare as a basic entitlement. Next, human right and health. So now, so health is also connected. Just a minute. हेलो हेलो मैं अभी किसी किसी ऑडियो में हूँ अभी थोड़ी देर बाद कॉल करूँ so now health human right and health now I connect health with human rights. Human rights have been used to defend persons suffering from disease and not getting the treatment. So when if anyone is not getting the determinants of health or when it is unhealthy or he's suffering from any diseases also, then it can also be said that his basic human rights has not been fulfilled. UN deals human rights with its two bodies, ICCPR, which is International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and ICESCR, International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. ICESCR commits in its parties towards granting of economic, social, cultural right, including labor right and right to health. So this ICESCR deals with health. ICESCR, right to social security, education, work, forms the foundation of positive rights. It enjoins states to take affirmative action to ensure those rights. The most important social and economic right is the right to health. ICESCR in Article 12 urges governments to recognize the right to everyone to the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. Now comes the concept of right to health. Right is right to health is merely aspirational or it is operational and or it is enforceable. Then with this comes this right to health. What should be the right to health? Or it is only an abstract, or it should be obeyed, or it should be given by the states. This is the main argument regarding health or regarding health right. The right to health is too broadly defined, which lacks clarity of purpose and content. Its generality makes it difficult in the specific obligation and actualization of this right because what is health is so broadly defined. So though there is no proper meaning comes out from this concept of health. So it is first argued that the right of health or the concept of health should be defined concretely and specifically so that anyone could identify what is health or what is right to health. For example, definition of health as per WHO gives a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of diseases or infirmity. So, from looking from this definition of health, it will remain difficult to implement this concept of health as it could never be achieved. It is necessary to construct a clear definition of right to health, which defines it violators, put obligation on state, and criteria for its enforcement. To achieve this goal, UN Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights (UNESCR), which monitors the implementation of ICESCR, issued General Comment Number 14, the right to the highest attainable state standard of health. General Comment Number 14 says, health has as a fundamental human right necessary to exercise the other human rights. So it is more clear meaning and it is more easy meaning to about the health and right to health. As it says that it is health as a fundamental right which is necessary to exercise the other human right. Right to health is not just about healthcare, it also covers other socio-economic conditions necessary for healthy life, including nutrition, housing, clean water, sanitation, healthy workplace, clean environment. So these are the parts of health as per UN General Comment number 14, which it given in 2000. It seeks member states to take all measures and utilize their resources to achieve the proposed rights. It stresses to achieve those rights by individual states with international assistance and cooperation. Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights says with regard to right to health that states should provide access to health facility and necessary aid to the patient. ICESCR committee asked for ensuring the health facilities, especially to the marginalized group. The committee also explains the circumstances where the right to health is violated. Example, the repeal of legislation or the adoption of legislation which are not consistent with the right to health, domestic or international. The right to health is also violated when states do not take any measure for ensuring the right even after entering into a bilateral or multilateral agreement in this regard. Now, WHO's program, WHO has done also so many steps for ensuring the health or the right to health in many ways. For example, it laid down the Alma Ata Declaration in 1978 and Health for All by the year of 2000. It explained the means for which the highest attainable standard of health can be achieved. The study of Pan American Health Organization PAHO, sorry, the study of Pan American Health Organization PHO regarding right to health in America regarding the health of all by the year of 2000 is the most important guide for any state responsibility to protect health. So it is emphasizing the role of state for protecting its right to health. It is the most concrete definition of this social right of health protection and responsibility of state regarding the protection of this right. Declaration of Alma Ata of WHO also emphasizes the importance of participation, concern for society's most vulnerable members. Some of its essential aspects are the importance of participation of individuals and groups in the planning and implementation of healthcare. Second, the participation of individuals, equal access to individuals and families to healthcare. WHO has also prepared a list of global indicators to know the spending on healthcare, like percentage GNP spent on health, amount of international aid allocated to health, and percentage of the population covered by primary healthcare. While WHO does not monitor the implementation of these programs, ICESC is responsible for monitoring the provision of the right to health. Protecting right to health by states has three components. Obligation first, obligation not to violate these rights directly by its action. Second, obligations to for preventing others from violating these rights. And third, obligation to take measures to ensure these rights. For example, obligation of state to prevent tobacco use by persuading the tobacco companies for not using the tobacco or giving some ad on the tobacco pack will not to help that it injurious to health and better not to consuming the tobacco as it will injure your health. And by obligation of health needs, state may pursue primary health care with emphasis on preventive rather than curative measures. Now, the concept of right to life in India. As we see, the concept of right to health has still now not been implemented in by India through its executive, but it has often been cited by the Indian judiciary under the right to life concept, which is Article 21 of Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India has recognized many civil and political rights as fundamental right in Part 3 of the Constitution. It includes right to life, right to freedom, right to education, etc. These rights are protected and enforced by the judiciary. The directive principle of state policies DPSP enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Indian Constitution are from Article 36 to Article 51. These are directions which are not meant to be enforced by the state and judiciary. The state is supposed to implement those rights in due course of time. These are non-justiciable. Its rights includes first protection to protect health and strengthen from its abuse. It is in Article 38. Second, protect health from abuse. It is in Article 39E. C. Raise of nutrition level. Improve the standard of living and improvement of public health, etc. Apart from these, some health-related provisions are in 11th and 12th schedule of the Constitution, which are under the jurisdictions of panchayats and municipalities. It includes providing clean drinking water, adequate health care and sanitation, promotion of family welfare, etc. The Constitution of India does not expressly recognize right to health as a fundamental right under Part 3 of the Indian Constitution, although it has been ensured by many times to the citizens under the garb of right to life. Now, Article 23 of the Indian Constitution is also indirectly considered as protecting the right to health as it prohibits human trafficking and child labor. The role of protecting right to life is noteworthy. It has repeatedly observed that Article 21 means a life with human dignity and not mere survival or animal existence. It says in the judgment of Francois Corral versus the Administrator, Union Territory of Delhi, AIR 1981. In this judgment, he says that what Article 21 entails for. And third, Supreme Court argues right to life includes right to livelihood, hygienic condition in workplace, and right to leisure, right to life. So the Supreme Court has constantly elaborated this concept of right to health. It's not right to that it says that right to health doesn't mean that we should only be alive, or we should not only be alive and eating and drinking. It has constantly elaborated this right to accommodate the other basic human rights, including the right to health. For example, it is giving that the right to life also includes right to livelihood, the right to hygienic condition of in workplace, right to leisure, and right to health. So all these are the also the ingredient in the inherent concept of right to life, which has been in the due course of time constantly been used by the Indian judiciary to give various other rights. So it cannot be said that India has not acknowledged this the notion of right to health through its various times and the various situation when their citizen required this basic human right at the time of need and at the time of their insecurity. When citizen has this basic human right has been violated, they approach to the court and they got adequately compensated for not ensuring this basic human right to health by the government apparatus or by the government hospital or by the various government machineries. For example, lots of PIL has been filed in the Indian judicial system for the in demand of this right to health by their citizen. For example, PIL and right to health. This is the protection of health from various PIL. So the various PIL, the citizens of India has demanded their protection of the health rights. With the passage of time, a series of PILs, public interest litigation, has been filed in this area. It has resulted in evolution of the process of implementation of fundamental rights and rights under the directive principle of state policies. For example, the fundamental right to life has evolved through PIL as a bare necessities of life, just as the adequate nutrition and adequate clothing and adequate place to live and adequate working and compensation in case of not getting employment. So all these are the concept uh, of of right to life also. The Constitution of India has provided right to health through judicial interpretation of the right to life rather than any direct guarantees of in the Constitution. Basic necessities of life found expression in several judgments of the court, and most significant of its right to health decision has been the trial case of Pachim Banga Khet Mazdoor Samiti versus the State of Bengal. In this case, Supreme Court used the right to life to secure the right to emergency medical care. Here, Supreme Court said financial constraint could not be the excuse for denying this emergency medical care. Then I'm stating this Paschim Banga Khet Mazdoor Samiti case, Samiti judgment, where the court argued for the right to health, to give the basic human right of the person whose health right has been violated by the government machinery. In this case, the petitioner, which is called Hakim Sheikh, got serious injuries after falling from the train at Mathurapur station in West Bengal, and he was denied treatment in consecutive six government hospitals. Hospitals refused to admit him, citing the reason of either lack of availability of the bed or inadequate medical facilities. Here, in this judgment, in this case, Supreme Court examined examined case and cited the Article 21 of Indian Constitution, that it is the obligation of state to safeguard this right to life of this person, Hakim Ajmal Sheikh. Court court said to provide treatment to Hakim Sheikh in the government-run hospital is court said the failure to provide treatment to Hakim Sheikh in the government-run hospital is the breach of Article 29, as they only admitted this patient and not given him any treatment by six consecutive government hospitals. So finally, Hakim Sheikh was duly compensated by the order by the Supreme Court by the government of West Bengal at rupees 25,000. So finally, this man got the compensation of 25,000 by the state. So this case set an example of how this right or this right of to health can be thrown to the government run apparatus or to the government, and government is bound to give this very notion of the right to health. It looks a very simple case in which this patient only get 25,000 rupees as a compensation for not getting this his proper judgment, his proper treatment by the government run hospital. But it was a very landmark judgment upon which several judgment has been based on, and or still it could be cited to demand this the concept of the right to health by the government of India. So it directed to the government hospital. Supreme Court directed government hospital to improve health infrastructure, especially to admit the emergency patients. And this patient at the time was very seriously injured as it got serious injury after falling from the train. And there are several other examples of this PIL, which has all where right to life has also been cited to demand this basic concept, his basic right to health. Another example is the Consumer Education and Research Center versus Union of India and others. Here, petitioner Consumer Education and Research Center and other filed PIL writ petition under Article 32. Here, petitioner sought protection of health of the workers who were working in mines and asbestos industry. It was also the landmark judgment which enforced health care under the ambit of Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. So here again, court cited Article 21 to give the basic right of the people whose basic human rights were violated, as they were not getting the healthy environment to work and to getting their employment, as they are working under the very unhygienic conditions of mines. So again, the court directed to give the minimal hygiene to the workers. It said in its judgment, court said the right of emergency medical care is fundamental right, and it said it state is obliged to ensure conditions necessary for good health. So here, emergency medical care is also cited as a fundamental right by the Indian judiciary. There is also another case, Mehta versus Union of India. Here, another judgment where Supreme Court inferred right to health with right to life was Mehta versus Union of India. Here, amicus curiae filed an application in the Supreme Court of India for the rising level of pollution in Delhi NCR region because of the excessive use of diesel. So the whole atmosphere of Delhi was polluted during that particular time, where diesel was in practice, where diesel was practiced for the public transport, and there was no concept of the cleaner fuel like CNG. At that time, this case came here. Amicus Curie filed an application in the Supreme Court for the rising level of pollution in this region. Here, Supreme Court also directed switching of the vehicles from diesel to the other cleaner fuels in its judgment. Then, after only the use of the CNG started. However, court cited jurisdiction falls in the area of executive, but still it was a very landmark judgment. After that, the pollution level of Delhi NCR region has drastically reduced, and the air quality has been much improved from the prior level, which where diesel was in practice. Diesel use was in practice. The court direction came in the light of public health consideration and linking it to the right to life. So here again, public health was cited by the Indian judiciary, and it was and right to life was used to give this basic human right to their people. So, finally, I conclude by saying that it is how this concept of right to health has evolved and developed over time. Internationally, it has developed in 1966 by the UN General Assembly when it adopted its two treaties that would shape the international human rights. And the concept of health is as acknowledging as a human right, as a basic right upon which other human right exists. It has internationally acclaimed by the UN through ICESCR in its General Comment number 14 in 2000, which puts an obligation on the states to follow this concept. But in India, but India, it has developed much before this, much before when UN acknowledged this in its constitution through fundamental rights and directive principle. Although health is not the part of fundamental right, it is part of the directives principle of state policy, which could be implemented through the part of time, which was the vision behind the directive principle, but but constantly directing, but throughout we have seen in our paper that the state and Indian judiciary has used this right to life, which is a fundamental right, to ensure this basic human right or basic right to health to their citizen through its various judgments. In India, through the several judgments, judiciary has acknowledged health as a basic right and a human right, and put obligation on the state for ensuring this right to health by using Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. As Supreme Court concludes, right to life extends to right to health, hygiene, right to leisure, and judiciary has noted it in its various judgments. So, so this paper argues for the more concrete right to health concept should be given by Indian executive also, because each and every time judiciary has to intervene in this, in defining this health right to the people. So if executive should give this the more concrete definition and concrete meaning to this right, then this basic health right could be more enjoyed by the citizen, or could be more demanded by the state to enforce, as right to education is already here up to the age of 14. So that's all from my side. If there's any question or any queries you can want to ask from me, you can ask, or you are feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for this session. Ma'am, there are some few questions in the chat box, ma'am. Can you just check it and answer that? Ma'am, some of our participant has mentioned their concern in the chat box, ma'am. Please, you
Why
can
our
answer.
why our constitution not depreciating WHO definition and try to include in
Yeah.
our constitution?
Yes, ma'am.
WHO definition of right to health is already saying it's very vague. WHO says that what is the concept of right? It is a
Hmm.
complete well-being, mental, emotional, and physical well-being of of the people. So it is already, this paper argues that it cannot be implemented because the definition of health, which is given by WHO, is very vague, and it
Yeah.
cannot be actualized and implemented by any state or any state machinery. So this is the basic argument of this paper, to define it, or by the international body or by the national body, to define this concept of health by in very concrete manner, that what is health. First, it should say that what is health and what is this concept is all about. Its health is only the concept of diseases, or is I am free, I have no disease, or I have no any big disease, then am I healthy? Then everyone is healthy. Then
Yeah.
so it should be, it is important to define this this concept of health very concretely. Then what is health? So here general comment number 14 came by the ICESCR, which defined this concept of health more concretely, that it is if you are not getting hygienic condition of work, of if you are not getting the free drinking water, and if you are working in not and if your workplace is not conducive, then it is also it is a part of health, and your right to health is violated. So if we will adopt this the WHO definition of health, it will become more difficult to implement the concept of health. So here WHO definition of health is not that appropriate, which could be implemented by state. So Indian state has not defined what is health. So it should define. I am also arguing that Indian state should also define then what is health, as UN has defined in its internal comment number 14 ICSAR. So India should also define first what is health, so that we can fix the responsibility on any individual, or any group, or any state, or any other machinery to check the violation of the particular of this particular very basic right. Supreme Court, another is Supreme Court talks about preventing aspect rather than
Yeah.
curative aspect. So far, so far as right to health is concerned, yes, yes, the concept here is said that India is a large country and still developing country. It's still it has not that much very resource to deal with every diseases and every aspect of diseases, or that bigger diseases or smaller diseases, because it has a huge population, and health sector is also not that much developed, as we have seen in the current pandemic situation, that how state has constantly failed to handle this in this pandemic, which has very randomly erupted due to its lack of infrastructure. So this concept of preventive aspect came, that is whether to prevent rather than cure. We should not come at the phase of just coming at the diseases. So we should adopt
Yeah.
that lifestyle way. We have to improve that lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, and healthy food and healthy air and healthy water should be consumed, and
Yeah.
the proper health system, proper healthy living, so that disease should not come, because once disease comes, it is already difficult to cure. So this the concept of preventive rather than the curative measure in India is exist.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there is the next question is that the significance of the r- right to life and health in India.
Significance of right to life and right to health in India.
Yeah, what is the significance of this? Come.
Yeah, because the right to life health is still not being given by the Indian state. It was about to give before this creation
Mhm.
government, or
Yeah.
prior 2014. There was some noise,
Mhm.
and there was some hearing about it, that
Yeah.
after the right to education and after the information right to information, this right to health will also come. But still it has not been come. But the right to life is there since the our Indian constitution has come. in its fundamental right of right article in its article 21 it is there when constitution came in India, and it has also been very broadly defined that it includes the other aspects of health. So what I am saying that right to health, right to life is not mere just living life with dignity. It also includes the other determinants of health, which has the parts of health. This thing has been used by the Indian judiciary in several times. Most of
Hmm.
them was the Pashchim Banga Khet Mazdoor Samiti, where the
Okay.
normal person health right was being denied by the various government hospital, and finally he approached the Supreme Court through PIL, and finally he was
Yeah.
granted the compensation.
Okay.
So this is the significance of right to life and right to health, because right to health has not been yet not been given to the citizen.
Okay.
So I'm arguing that right to health should be given by
Yeah.
the state. So,
Ma'am, ma'am, next question is that someone asked that list of the challenges that faces nowadays to keep someone fit. Yeah.
challenges to challenges faced by someone to keep fit.
Mm, list of the challenges that someone is facing right now to keep him or herself to fit.
Yeah. First I'll say that
Hmm.
the prices of the pharmas, prices of the pharmaceutical, prices of the medicine. I will argue that this patented medicine, the price of this patented medicine, especially in the case of on the big diseases, for example, cancer or mainly cancer, and for the other psychiatric diseases, which is very high. So because this is the reason due to these drugs are owned by a multinational companies, and they increases their prices. So this is the very important issue which should be dealt, so that Indian pharma pharma industry, which is also very grown up on very
Yeah.
in copying any patented drug by their own indigenous way. So
Okay.
this is the most challenging aspect of
Hmm.
to remain healthy by the any citizens of this country or any poor citizens of this country, so that every citizen could not buy the very high priced medicine,
Hmm.
and every citizen could also not visit abroad for their treatment.
Okay.
So it is the basic challenge, and other challenges to fix their health is the adopting a healthy lifestyle in the current scene, where physical mobility is reducing day by day. Even I used to sit for morning to evening
Okay.
on just a chair, and then reading and delivering and studying. So this overall concept of the being healthy and a notion of healthy and enjoying life
Hmm.
should be acknowledged, and should be adopted, and there should be some laser therapy, and there should be some
Yeah.
emotion should be there. So
Ma'am, someone has also asked the next question. Please answer that question
what
in
is
the chat box.
what is the
What?
status of national level?
Yeah.
What is the status of national level about right to health?
What is the current status of right to health in India?
Current to health, I'm also saying that currently there is no concept. This right to health has not been
Okay.
adopted by the state. Currently, it is not here.
Okay.
Indian executive has yet not fixed this concept of right to health. Right to health is not being given to their citizen as a basic
Okay.
right to fix the state as a
Okay.
violator, or fix any government machinery or any government group, any government or non-governmental organization to fix the violation of this basic human right. So this I am demanding. On this I am arguing. It should be there in our
Madam, whether you are expecting this implementation by some 2030 or 2047?
yeah, it could be there. It could be there. But I don't know about this. But there is no current hearing about these rights. Earlier it
Is there,
was.
is there any country where it is there
Yeah, it is
in
in
the world?
United States.
It's there.
Yes, United
Okay,
States.
okay,
In any developed country, it's there.
okay. By 2047,
Hmm.
Mr. Modi expect that we will be developed country. So by that we can have this right to health.
Yeah, I could. I am also expecting that.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, the last and final question is that how someone can keep him or herself fit and fine.
I'll say by healthy attitude, healthy, positive and healthy attitude, and good lifestyle. Go go to bed early and wake up early. This is a very old saying, but
Yeah.
it's very relevant in every age and every time.
Yes, ma'am.
Health determines on very small things. Just eat healthy, just drink
Mhm.
healthy, just eat good, eat clean, drink clean, consume clean water. This is the very basic, and this is a very really easy requirement upon which the health determines. But still, people are not enjoying this.
Hmm.
This is the irony of the state or any country or any institution, that this very small basic things are also not getting by lots of people in our country even today.
Yes, ma'am. I thank you, ma'am, for answering a- a- all of these questions, and I hope our participants learn many new things from this session. Now, and thank you, ma'am, for your time and for this session. We really love it, ma'am.